Hello and welcome back to another tutorial on jsPsych. So for today's tutorial, we are going to clean up our experiment, our script, and also add some stuff which is not there. So add some missing stuff to make it more complete. So for the past tutorial, we have learned how to save our CSV file. But here comes the problem. We have to identify each participant by their ID, and we don't have that yet in this experiment. So every time we have to save a file, we have to do it manually. And why not put it right at the start? Because most experiments will identify participants by their ID, normally at the start, and they'll ask them to input the ID. So let's do that. So instead of having a welcome block, we might want to add some other stuff inside that block itself, like asking participants to include their name or tell them to input the ID. So we have to change the type of plugin from HTML button to a sort of survey kind of plugin, which will have an input, and then it will save the input into the CSV file. So the nearest one that I found, which is the survey HTML form, we have the HTML, which is where you put the input or the string that contains the elements to display. So we can have different number of forms. And then we have the preamble, which is the title that we want. So we need preamble, HTML, and nothing else. So let's first add this to our script. Just plug into the script. So we have the HTML form, and then we're going to change it to a HTML form. So preamble, title, welcome to the experiment. Let's put it 2 lines. So paragraph, and next line. Please complete the form. Let's make it simple and just put one text box just for the ID. We don't want to make it more complicated where we input other demographic, because that's one other session where we talk about creating questionnaires. And then we have HTML. That's where we are going to put the text box. So it's a paragraph. Let's put paragraph. Let's just close it first. Participant ID. So input. So this is the input box. The name of the input box, it's part_ID. So the type of input we want is text. And then let's close it. So we have the HTML set up. So for now, let's test whether it works. And let's close the rest of the timeline. So let's not save it. And let's test this. So now we have the participant ID for them to put in and then continue. So you're supposed to continue the instructions, but now we have completed the experiment. The responses is collected here. So we want to collect the participant ID and put it in every single trial. So it's easier for us to track who this person is. So we can do that by adding this into the properties of the data when they finish the form. So we have to do that by on finish, create a function for the data, the comma. So what we're going to do is we have to turn the data.responses into a JSON object format. Because right now it's in a string. Let me show you. So right now you see there is a quotation mark, which means it is in the string format. So it's not going to be able to identify. It's not going to identify it as an object on an array where you can just extract the values from the participant ID and put it in every trial. So we have to turn it into some form that we can extract data from, which makes our job easier. So this is what it does. So once we finish that, we have to add properties to every line. So there is this neat function in jsPsych called add properties. So you're basically adding on the left side, it's basically you're adding this thing to every trial. So we want to add a participant ID on every trial. So we see one column is just participant ID and it populates all the entire rows. So we're going to get the data from the response. So we're going to get a participant ID. Okay, where is it? Yes, it's in caps. So this is what we want. So just to test it, let's refresh. 1, 2, 3, 4. So right now we have participant ID as one of the columns. So to test whether it populates to the next one, we are going to add an instructions block and refresh. And you see that it continues on for every screen in the experiment. So this is what we want. And now we can change this in our CSV file as well. So instead of getting the ID instead of putting a name, saving a name by itself, what we can do is to put the ID inside. So site.data.get. So what we want to get, the values. Values of, remember that participant ID is populated in every trial. So we can just get it from the last trial. What we want to get the values, what values do we want? Part ID, let's see, they are in caps. Small p. Okay, let me close everything else. So we have the ID. So we have the file name. We have to add .csv because it only gets the ID. So 1, 2, 3, but it doesn't tell you what file format. So we have to add it inside. So this is the first part to it. Then we can test. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we're done, you see it's populated as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.csv. So there we go. We have the ID inside. Now let's say we want to know when they completed the experiment. Let's just close welcome block. So we need to create a date format so that we know when they completed that. So let's put constants. So I think it's the best practice, or it's the convention to put constant as a caps. So date. So we want a date. Let's just put question mark for now because we have to set a date to the year. So var today's date is new date. So it gets the date from the system. So we have to get a day, and the date is string today dot get date dot. So we want to get the zero. So I think it's like this. So this gets the date, and we can do the same for month. So So instead of get the today's date, we want to get today's month. So it starts from 0. We have to add 1. Oops, there's a today, string today, add 1 dot pad start 2. So we just want to get 2, and it should be an integer. And we want the year. So it's just today dot get full year. This should look correct. So we have extra parentheses. So right now the date is year plus month plus date. So it's something like 2020, 04, or 0408. So right now you have the date. Today should be in caps. So now we have date. So we can add to our file name. Just add date plus CSV. But remember, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then date. So it's going to be very difficult to identify ID from date. So we need to add a separator, underscore, then choose which one you want, then plus CSV. So let's test this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So date ID underscore date. So we have everything that we need for this part. Just close this. So what else can we do? So we have repetitions that we can change. Let's call it experimental rep. And we have, where's our practice? We have something that we can change in the practice. Oh, sorry, prac underscore rep. So the practice procedure and the experimental procedure, so x rep. So things that we can change, we can put it outside. So experimental parameters. We have prac rep, we have x rep equals 1, semicolon equals 5, semicolon. So next thing we have to do, remember the CSV file that we generated last time? Font size, the font itself, stimulus, we want to change it just to a like fixation, something like that, so it's neater. So we can do that in the fixation trial. So let's look for that. Data, stimulus, colon, fixation. We just put plus. It's simpler. So we solve the fixation, and then we need the feedback. feedback trial. Screen ID. So it's a stimulus. Yeah, we can leave it that way just to keep things simple. All right, so let's see, is there anything that we have to change? Nope, let's just keep things as simple as possible. So right now we have everything that's organized in the way that we want. Next thing we could do is to move all this experimental, to move the script from the script itself to a new file all the way here, to a new file called experiment in the JavaScript folder. So we can create a new JavaScript file called experiment.js. So we can add all the experimental blocks inside. Let's toggle it. So we have everything here. We can remove. And remember, we have to add the experiment script inside, because now our whole experiment is in another file. So we have to retrieve the entire JavaScript file from this file here, and then we can run the experiment. So let's test ID, let's say 101, instructions, practice, then not press. So okay, save my file by file. I have my ID, I have my date, so I know as an experimenter, I know when this participant completed this trial. So you can see the correct response I didn't press. You can see what I pressed, so we have everything we need for the experiment. Okay. So these responses is actually the HTML screen that they view. So we might have to change it. Here we don't, because it only contains this. So we can disregard it for now. So we have our first complete experiment with all our ID, their response, their correct response accuracy, which is what we actually need. Key press, correct response, RT, and the stimulus. So this is actually what we need. Everything else here we can disregard. You can just delete. When you analyze the data, we can just delete all the rest and just show this one, this view. So there it is, completed experiment from scratch. So thank you for watching this tutorial. I'm gonna also create more things about in the study that, or the experiment that we can look into, like when participants are not looking at the screen. Yes, I can record that as well. And for those who are looking into publishing this experiment online, how would you save your data? You need a database or need to link to Dropbox. So we're going to look more into those stuff in the next few tutorials. So thank you for watching this tutorial and hope to see you in the next one.